6 at 6. Annual notice has been forwarded to the New Jersey Herald and the Daily Record. It was posted on the bulletin board maintained in the municipal building for public announcements. And the roll call.
Mr. Hufferkamp is absent. Ms. Johnson is absent. Ms. Roberts is absent. Ms. Rodriguez.
Here.
Present. Ms. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
And the mayor.
Here. Join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do not have any proclamations for this evening, but we will have proclamations of probably at our next 3 council meetings. We have a lot of, we have 2 Eagle Scouts, we have silver awards, we have bronze awards, we have the awarding of the new municipal flag, or Hopatcon flag will be at the July 3rd meeting, so he will be here. So no proclamations tonight. So we will start with, is our Board of Education member available, or?
She's online.
She's online already. Okay, so we actually have a speaker this evening that is not on the agenda that we added, and it is the president of the Board of Education, Nicole Falcone, Schubert Falcone, Falcone Schubert, to give a presentation to us, just an overview of what happened at the school Board of Education meeting on Monday night. There is no ability for questions because she is online, so she's just going to give us a presentation. So if you have questions, you can kind of hold them and we'll see if we can answer them. And if we can't, we'll have to get the answers for you.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Nicole Falcone Schubert. I'm the president of the Hopatcon School Board. I know I speak for the majority of the school board when I say that we believe the town and the schools really need to work together to make sure everyone in our community, including families with students, get the benefit of living in our beautiful town. So thank you again so much for including us tonight, and I'm looking forward to being more collaborative in the future. So we have some exciting news going on at the school board. If you haven't been aware, since 2020, we have lost $6 million in state aid, which has been, detrimental to our small school district. However, through grit and lots of hard work and perseverance, we've managed to minimally impact the classroom and instead cut a lot of administrative positions. You will notice that class sizes have gone up, but that's really the majority of the impact on the classrooms. But because of those state aid cuts, we have had a hard time maintaining our physical buildings. Up until recently, there has not been any relief from the state regarding the state aid, so we've had to manage the best that we could. However, recently, the legislature passed legislation to allow school districts a one-time chance to recover some of their lost state aid in the way of increasing local taxes up to 9.9%. So for Hopatcon, that means that we would be able to recover $1.569 million by increasing our local taxes. We have to act on this very quickly. The school board only has until July 5th to take action. So what we did at our past meeting this Monday is reopened our budget and discussed what the maximum increase would look like in terms of the tax impact for everyone who lives in town and how that money could be used to best meet the students' needs in town. So we've decided to look at that 9.9% and how it could impact the physical buildings. And we were discussing earmarking that money just for capital improvements only. So to put this in terms of what it would look like for an average home, using the new reassessment numbers, the average home is now valued at $345,000. So the 9.9% tax increase would impact the average home at $330 a year, or less than $30 a month, so $27.51, which would help us recover that $1.569 million. Mr. Hallenbach actually, just right after our meeting, was able to use the spreadsheet that the assessment company posted to the Hopatcong website, and he determined that 82% of homes in Hopatcong are valued at less than $450,000. So homes up to $450,000 would not see more than a $430 yearly increase. Again, just at $35 a month. If we go to the maximum increase of 9.9%. This new budget will be voted on at our Board of Ed meeting on Monday, the 24th. And then this tax increase would go into effect for the 2024-2025 school year. And this is what we would like to consider phase one of ensuring that the necessary capital improvements that we need to make in order to maintain the building's physical safety for students will happen. Phase two is really going to be dependent on the taxpayers. Phase two has to do with a new scaled back referendum that you will see on the ballot in November. These two things can go hand in hand if the town votes yes on the referendum. So the cost of this referendum will not exceed $9,897,000 and is earmarked to pay for a new high school roof, a new roof at Tulsa Trail, and a new above ground oil tank at Durbin Avenue and the middle school. If you recall, last year's referendum was much larger, around $26 million, included windows and safety things that we needed and other structural things that was voted down. So we've scaled back this referendum for basically the basics. And we would do this referendum over a 5-year payback period. So the referendum will go to vote. You'll have a question, yes or no are your options. If the referendum passes, the 9.9% tax increase that we're going to be voting on Monday is going to be used to pay down the bonds. Okay, and that includes the interest. I want to say this really loud and really clearly. No additional tax increase will be made if the referendum passes. By voting yes, all you're doing is saying you want to take that tax increase that the school district just approved or will approve on Monday and use it to pay down the bond on the referendum. So why a referendum? There really are many benefits, but the two main ones that make this so appealing is the state is going to kick in up to 40% of the cost to fix these projects, and the project can start right away. So the state contribution would be $3,728,000. So by voting yes, the taxpayers are saying we want the state to contribute towards the cost of the projects, and we want to start these capital improvements right now before they get worse. If the referendum is voted down and the taxpayer says no in November, the taxpayer is saying, nope, we want to pay 100% of these project costs, and we're going to have to save up enough money in our capital reserve for each project before it can start. Because either way, that 9.9% increase is going to happen, and it's going to be used to pay for capital improvements. We can have the state kick in by voting yes, or we can pay for it all on our own by voting no. And I just want to be clear that if the referendum fails, it's not going to take 5 years to get these projects done and paid for. It's going to take at least 8. We have to save up enough money to do each project. And just saving for the high school roof alone is going to take about 5 years. And by the time we're ready to do that project, the bids are probably outdated. The cost is going to rise. And then of course, more damage is going to be done. So unfortunately, the school board does not have the luxury to borrow money without going to the taxpayers for permission. So we need to ensure that these physical things that need to get done are going to happen for the kids in town. So we are going to vote on this 9.9% increase on Monday. What we would love is for the town to vote yes on the referendum, if that's the way that they'd like to have this paid off, because the state will help us pay for the things that we need. And it's a savvy way to have them kick in, because right now, the only way that we're getting relief is by increasing our local taxes on the taxpayer. Otherwise, the state is not going to kick in. So that's what we talked about on Monday. That's what we will still be discussing the following Monday and voting on at our meeting on Monday night at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anybody can attend that meeting on Monday night, correct? On the 24th?
Yes, it's an open meeting. It will be at the board office. If there are a lot of people in attendance, we can move it. It's also live streamed. If you have any questions about anything that I had said, excuse me, you can email Mr. Hallenbach or myself. Our email addresses are on the school website, but it's our first initial last name and at hopehaconschools.org.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Moving along, I see that we have Dan McCarthy's in the audience, so I'm actually going to ask him to come forward before we do committee reports. Dan is our liaison to the Lake Hopatcong Commission, and I've asked him to come once every few months to just update the council and the public on what's happening with the Lake Hopatcong Commission.
Good evening, everyone. I think there's probably three topics I'd like to talk about tonight. One is probably top of mind, or most people are wondering what's going on with the weed harvesting. So the harvesters have been in the River Styx. It's pretty well cleaned up, I understand, inside the bridge. They've had a few breakdowns. The breakdowns have been fixed. So they've been in Crescent Cove inside, going down to the beach and up to the north end. So they've been in there 3 days doing that. The old machine that was involved in the accident a couple of years back in the same area is up and running. That's now fully operational. Tomorrow they expect to go outside of the bridge and do by Johnny's Marina and in that area out towards Pickerel Point. The other thing that's of concern is the risk of HABs. You know, we had the HAB outbreak a couple of years ago. There's a couple of early warning signs that we're watching. Obviously, the heat is a problem because we call this you know, the informal term is like we call it HAB stew. HAB stew is very, very hot weather, prolonged. And then if we have sudden rainstorms, and it's not like a long soaking rain, but it's a heavy rain where all the water just rushes in the lake and takes the storm water and everything else and all the nutrients with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets hot again, and then that stew bakes, then you're likely to see HABs. The one concern we have right now is the water clarity. We can only see about 1.5 meters down using a Secchi dish. If anybody knows what a Secchi dish is, it's like a round disc. It's half white, half black, and you drop it down until you can't see it. And that's the Secchi depth clarity. Wait, check for clarity. I did write to I wrote to our scientist, Dr. Love, now just to ask him for his take on what's going on out there, and I got an email for him today. Just very short. I'd like to read it. It says, for an update on Lake Hopatcong, essentially overall the lake is holding its own. I'm concerned about the mild winter followed by a wet May and a hot, so far, June. Additionally, June phosphorus concentrations are slightly elevated and Secchi depth is slightly lower than we want. However, with the volunteer phycocyanin readings, we have seen a decline in cyanobacteria biomass from last week to this week in the Crescent Cove section of the lake. Thus, right now, I would say the lake is doing fine, but we need to keep an eye on things, particularly in the near shore shallow bays and coves. With the potential of some thunderstorms over the weekend, we need to keep an eye on how the lake will respond next week, since temperatures will continue in the 80s to the low 90s. So that's as of this afternoon. So we talked about weeds, we talked about the potential concern about HABs, we're monitoring it. Third thing is just a general comment. The commission gets $500,000 a year in funding, more or less, for our operating budget, and we're seeing costs rise substantially. I know the foundation has been very proactive with local legislators, and even they're trying to reach anybody and everybody in state government that will listen to see what can be done about increasing our funding. We're not getting solid traction in that regard. So unless something breaks at some point, maybe way down the road, maybe sooner rather than later, we may have to look at, some hard cost cutting options. I've seen this movie before years ago. We had to start laying off staff and it was death by 1,000 cuts. And we watched the thing wither on the vine. I want to be clear, that's not like happening today, not happening tomorrow, not happening next month, or maybe even next year. But I'm seeing distant early signs of concern because we're not getting, we're going to reach the point pretty soon, I would say, where we're going to be making 5-cent deposits and 10-cent withdrawals. That's where we were years ago. And it's only because we have a fixed sum of money that we get and the operating costs go up and up and up. And I know our harvesting foreman is using every tool possible to keep these machines going and to cut costs and to be efficient. And he outsources parts to as many places as possible, gets the cheapest deal. So he's very intimately involved in trying to keep the numbers down, but it's a struggle. But again, I don't want to be taken out of context and not saying the sky's falling, but it's something that has to be watched very closely. So if you have a chance to speak to anybody in state government, in the DEP, just do what you can to advocate for the commission in Lake Hopatcong. So those are the 3 general topics I thought would be pertinent and of concern. Any questions?
I just have a question. Do you think that we should send something on behalf of the borough of Hopatcong to these representatives that we have? Or would you rather see individual residents?
I think anything would help. Maybe we could coordinate something with the towns. We've done this in the past. We've gotten resolutions from the towns and the county's support for funding. I know probably we should check with the chairman. I know he's been working with Senator Bucco very carefully to try and make sure that we can get a little bit of traction, but I guess the budget climate in Trenton, I guess things are a little tight, and we were kind of led to believe don't have a lot of high hopes, this time around. We saw like a real huge, outpouring of support, like what can we do to help, like when the Habs blew up and the lake was shut down. Then all of a sudden there was all this funding and all this attention and, that's kind of quieted down. So it's like out of sight, out of mind, everything seems okay at Lake Hopatcong. So there's not as much focus or attention on it because nobody seems to perceive, when everything runs well, nobody seems to see it as a problem. Nobody seems to think that, there's any kind of urgency. But that's why I say this is something you have to watch very carefully, like with these Habs, the conditions. I mean, 2019 was really scary when, the lake, we couldn't use the lake essentially for a whole summer and you couldn't let your pets swim in the lake. And, it really affected businesses and it was a real hardship. So they do, by the way, DEP has these monitoring buoys in the lake. There's one in the River Styx on the outside of the bridge. You see, it looks like a little round thing buoy, and it transmits in real time data to the state. And I looked at it this morning, and the HAB, it doesn't suggest any kind of HAB problem. I know there's some other spots in the lake that they're just watching and monitoring a bit more closely, but the HAB buoys so far show good. But as I say, with this hot weather and the threat of storms followed by more hot weather and these quick flash flood storms, those are a real problem. So, but on a good note, I'll end with this. I did see some, or saw an email or some correspondence. I think you probably saw too from our DPW superintendent about the outfalls that they cleaned out last fall. I think there was 3 of them where they went in and cleaned things out, which is really nice. That's important. If we have another drawdown in 5 years, I'd like to see that happen again. I'd like to expand some of the areas. And when we don't have a drawdown, we can certainly go around and clean out the catch basins and arrest the nutrients before they go into the lake, because that's really will really help stop HABs. If the nutrients don't flush into the lake, then there's less risk of a problem. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll come back in 3 months, we'll talk, you'll give me a date. Okay, just so it's in my schedule. That's all. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Sarah, do we have an MSA update?
We do not have an MSA update. I did reach out for Valerie and asked her to get a contact information for the MSA because there are several questions that we have about the MSA. I know the engineer does, and we are having an issue contacting our representative. So hopefully at the next meeting, we'll have the MSA representative.
Okay.
Moving on to committee reports. We'll start with Ms. Rodriguez, since there is nobody on this side.
Did we not get invited to the party? Because I'm really upset.
don't think you want to be at that party.
I don't want to be at that party. All right, starting off with OEM, please let me know if you can't hear me in the back and I will yell louder. So per Hopakon OEM, cooling centers will be open today through Friday at the senior center from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Company 3, right across from Dunkin' Donuts, will serve as a cooling center. From County OEM, the library on Sparta Stanhope Road also is serving as a cooling center. It's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and on Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Myself and Councilman Smith attended the high school graduation last night. Anybody who sat in that heat deserves to get their diploma because it was absolutely brutal. Congratulations to the class of 2024. It was 110 students to receive their diploma. One of those students is also Councilman Smith's son, Gregory. Congratulations to him.
Thank you.
I would like to recognize 3 of those students. They are going to be serving in our armed forces. Trey Duke will be serving with the Army, Jamie Godfrey with the Navy, and Frank Kenyon with the Marines. So I want to thank them for their service. Very briefly on the Flag Day Parade, I know the mayor is going to go more in depth on this, but I do want to thank the groups that we collaborated with and planned with. So I want to thank the Lake Hopakon Elks Lodge 782, the police department, fire department, the EMS, our CERT team, DPW, recreation department, J&J vendors, and Arthur Huron. It was a huge, huge endeavor that we all were pulling our hair out with, but it turned out really successful and we all had an absolutely fantastic time. Jumping over to the fire department, I want to congratulate the fire department for participating and winning a gold medal in the Community of Hope 23rd Annual Veterans Flag Day 5K at the Lions VA Hospital that aids homeless veterans. And they did participate in full gear, right, guys? Right, they were in full gear for that 5K.
Oh, wow.
So congratulations to them. Jumping over to the police department, 2 additional recipients for the positive ticketing initiative, Jada L. and Angel L. Thank you for your positive service to the school community. We'd like to thank the Lake Hopakon Rotary for their donation to our Marine unit. They provided an enormous amount of donations, just to name a few: dock lines, waterproof medical bag, anchor lines, and much more. If you visit the Hopakon Police Department Facebook page, you can see a picture and a full list of everything they donated. So thank you to the Rotary Club. I'd like to congratulate Kelvin Fernandez, who is the 2024 recipient of the Robert Thomas Award. That is a $1,000 scholarship that's given out annually. Robert Thomas was a police officer that served with our police department for over 20 years. In 1998, he was diagnosed with cancer, and in that same year, he lost his battle. So since then, to honor his legacy, the PBA 149 from Hopakon gives out $1,000 to any student who is looking to go into law enforcement. So Kelvin will be going to Sussex County Community College in the fall to pursue his degree in criminal justice. So congratulations to Kelvin. Last week, the Hopakon Police Department hosted a 2-day voter safety course. Sergeant Anthony Bureau from the New Jersey State Police taught the course, and he's actually a Hopakon alumni. And wait, didn't you used to cut his hair as a child? So 55 borough students completed the course and received their voting safety certificate, so congratulations to them. Our Hopakon Animal Shelter is seeking assistance in locating a person who left a baby chick in a black bag inside the donation bin. So if anybody has any tips on who felt like leaving a little chickadee in the donation bin, please call the non-emergency line 973-398-5000 with any tips. Jumping over to the EMS. EMS is hosting a Dine to Donate next Tuesday, the 25th at the Beacon. It's all day, so if you feel like contributing anyway, please go and have a wonderful meal or grab a drink over at the Beacon. Their food is absolutely fabulous.
What
And
was the date?
Tuesday, the 25th. So 10% of the proceeds from the Beacon will go to our ambulance squad. Going over to celebration of events, it's really just kind of like a save the date. So Friday, June 21st at 7 p.m. is the Miss Hopakon pageant. So please show your support for all the contestants participating. I believe, I have to confirm, but I believe that's being held at the high school. Saturday, June 22nd is the next NCA meeting at 10 a.m. at Firehouse Company 2. Saturday, June 22nd is Taco Palooza, and the proceeds this year will be going towards the Warriors. They are hosting an inflatable
costume race at some point. So if you need a good laugh, please come and watch that. It will be absolutely hysterical, and wear your stretchy pants or stretchy shorts so you can eat a lot of food. Sunday, the 23rd is our senior picnic, which we are super excited for. Friday, June 28th is the Lake Hopatcon the Yacht Club fireworks at 9 p.m. And then Saturday, June 29th is the Salute to Veterans Cruise that kicks off at 8 a.m. They anticipate the Miss Lotta hitting Hopatcon around 10:15, or maybe 10:20. So we are hosting a River Styx Bridge rally. So if we can get as many people as possible to support our veterans and cheer them on at the bridge, we recommend being there around 10:15 to cheer them on. And then Hopatcon Days is July 13th and 14th. We're making it a 2-day event this year, so it's actually days. Hopatcon Days is plural once again. And that is it for me.
Well, that is a lot. So Brian, I don't know how you're gonna follow that, but
I can't keep up with that. That's an awful lot to cover, and then some of our stuff is gonna overlap here. Chamber of Commerce, tomorrow night is the business after hours. Sussex County Day is September 15th. Over at SCUMA, the next paper shredding event is June 21st. I want to say congratulations to all the Hopatcon High School graduates. I also want to thank everybody that made the Flag Day celebration a wonderful day. There was a lot of people out there and it was really fun to do. Mayor Galate, I think big kudos get to go to you for that, for making sure that happened. That was a fantastic event. I also want to wish all the dads a happy Father's Day. And I came in my my Father's Day present for my kids.
Go Yankees.
So, go Yankees. They're playing Baltimore tonight. In fact, it started a few minutes ago, but we'll get there. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank
very
you.
good, thank you.
All right, I guess I'm here. Congratulations to all the high school students that graduated, and I know Greg did a great job and got a nice scholarship. The Rotary donated more than $5,000 to both Hopatcon and Roxbury this year. They've also painted the tables in Rotary Park, and there's a new bench coming very soon, adding to the Rotary Park. So they're excited about making it better here. The Safely Back Home program, which we started a year and a half ago for children and adults that wander and cannot communicate, is reissuing new clothes, patches, and redoing things because kids grow, as you all know, and they need the patches on their sleeves. So they'll be back in town, and they're dealing with the school system on that. We have about 20 members of that, and both Smile Homes are also covered by it. And they want to outreach to any seniors that are taking care of someone that may wander or a situation they have at home, we are reaching out to them as well to be able to donate to them hats and clothing that have a number on it and a phone number so that they will be identified without trauma. If anybody needs more information on that, please give me a buzz. And that's what I have.
Very good. So then we move on, Neil, to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Continuing to learn a lot my first 2 weeks here, attending a lot of meetings and meeting a lot of people. It's been great. It's been a busy month to jump into, and in June, certainly. I wanted to again thank the Mayor and Council and all my new colleagues for helping me get acclimated to my new position. Rachel, I was going to report out on the emergency management. I'm glad you did all good. You mentioned the cooling centers. I just want to thank our CERT team, our volunteers, for helping assisting staff for those extra hours at those locations to help out our residents here. Quick report from the police department. Chief McCluskey, officers have been patrolling the lake every weekend, and their high visibility has significantly reduced complaints. So they're going to continue to do that throughout the summer, certainly, and hopefully things stay pretty calm, but people enjoy themselves as well. As the Lake Hopatcon fireworks event is on June 28th, the chief would like to remind everyone watching from Lakeside Boulevard to be considerate. Please avoid blocking driveways and refrain from parking in any travel lanes. A couple of reports from our DPW. They participated and they helped prepare for that fabulous Flag Day event that we just had. They're continuing to do roadside mowing, grass cutting, basin repair, hot patching, and street sweeping. And the water and sewer reports. They're continuing their valve machine repairs, grinder pump replacements, and grass cutting. and also valve exercising. That concludes my report, Mayor and Council.
It's a very big report too. Moving on to public comment. The public comment is an opportunity for the public to have commentary. Your comments are listed to 5 minutes. You need to come up, state your name. Anybody from the public want to comment?
I'll make a motion open to
Oh, I'm
public.
sorry, make a motion to open the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we can open the public.
Good evening. My name's Ed Taylor. I live on Maxon Drive and I belong to a community beach club down at the end of Byron Cove. And I put a boat lift in, which I got a permit from the state park. And I replaced a few boards, which they said they didn't care about that. But I talked to Bill Donegan. He said that I need a permit from the town. But he said that I had to come to a council meeting and I guess get your permission to let him give me a permit or something along those lines. He said I had to get approval from the council because it's actually town property, I guess. I always thought it was owned by the community club, but I guess it's not according to him, so.
And what's the dock?
Right in the end of Byron Cove,
Is it at the end of a road?
it's a fire lane that goes down. Yeah, not Squaw Trail, it's Hanson Lane, there's actually a sign on there.
Next to Byron Bay Bistro.
Yeah. I already got the approval from the state park and everything, but I guess I had to go through the town too, so he said I had to come here first.
So the best thing that I can suggest is if you can leave us contact information and then we can start discussing and working and doing whatnot, because obviously with not having information, the board itself could not make.
It's new to me too. so.
Yes, so if I can trouble you before
Sure.
you go to leave contact information, don't give it out since we're live. We don't want anybody calling.
Oh,
in.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I could write it on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, that's something I haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
My quick guess is that because the dock may be at the end of potentially a municipally owned road, the owner of the dock tends to be the owner of the property where the dock connects to land.
Okay.
And so that may be how it got to thinking that you needed town permission.
Yeah. But even before I can get the permit from him, it needed to go to you guys, so,
This will start the process, though.
okay, good. Okay,
Perfect.
Bill will know, if you talk to him, you'll know.
Sure, well,
He's the one who sent me here, so,
sure.
all right,
Thank you,
all
sir.
right, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Mara?
Never mind. Would like to know why the land use board meetings aren't posted online. And I wasn't here at the meeting when you did the noise ordinance, and I was wondering if you could explain the noise ordinance and how it affects anybody as far as the state police are supposed to have jurisdiction over the lake, right? So if you could explain the noise ordinance and what we passed.
So your question is land use meeting minutes online,
No, the video.
the video?
Yeah.
Which one is not online?
After the meeting, you mean, or during the meeting?
After the meeting.
So once the meeting's over, you want it posted after?
They are
Well, yeah.
posted.
Yeah, I thought
The
so.
municipal are posted,
Yeah.
land use aren't.
Land use is not posted. I can get you an answer. I don't have an answer,
Okay.
but I can get you an answer.
I know, I believe we're okay to post 2024. I think there was some Daniel's Law.
Redactions.
Yes, that needed to be made from 2023 and previous years, but 2024 should be okay to post. So I think when this is before Neil had started, when Greg was still here, we should be okay to post 2024.
Okay,
Just depending on
I'll get you
staff
an
workload.
answer.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, the second question?
The
Oh, the noise
noise,
ordinance.
the noise, yeah.
So the noise ordinance is something that all of the municipalities around the lake are passing the same addition to their noise ordinance. It isn't just one noise ordinance. All 4 municipalities have that specific verbiage language in there for being out on the lake. And since our police officers are out on the lake, it's just another piece of equipment that they can use to be able to police and control what the sound and the noise is on Lake Hopatcong.
Was our noise ordinance approved by the E DEP?
Our noise ordinance approved by the DEP? I don't have an answer for that.
Well, it says, according to NJAC 729, noise ordinance adopted by a county or municipality must be approved by the DEP to verify that the ordinance is consistent with the statewide strategy for noise control, and that the ordinance is more stringent than the state's noise ordinance. A noise ordinance establishes the standards that are measurable by a certified noise investigator using a calibrated sound meter. We also don't have anybody that's certified in the police department. We don't have a meter either. I know I
No,
called
we
over
don't.
there.
I don't have the answer. I don't.
Well, they're basically, I don't think we have a noise ordinance. If it wasn't approved by the DEP. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Steve Kristovich. I don't know if you guys remember last year, we had a Hopatcong Fire Department 100th year anniversary. And it was a year in planning. And when Maria approached me about her flag day a few months ago, I thought she was crazy. I said, you have no idea what you're getting involved, because there's so much coordination, and the count that she was giving me, like we had close to like 1,200 people supposed to come, and it ended up being like 900. And I think yours were like 750 people that showed up, right? 800. And it was a great event. I love seeing the community get together. A lot of people were there, and you guys did a fantastic job, Rachel. And I know one thing, Saturday night you guys slept like a babies. So, because I did after the parade was done, like I was done, and it was a great event. And thank you for putting that together. And I was really impressed. So next time when the fire department has a parade,
You're in charge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Anyone else? Anyone else? No? Motion to bring it back?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on, the approval of minutes. The approval of the June 5th, 2024 regular minutes. Can I have a motion
Motion.
Second.
and a roll call?
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
I know, it's so quick.
I'm waiting for the delay for myself.
Yeah.
So correspondence, we don't have any correspondence. So resolution 2024-89 is the bills list. I have a motion to discuss the bills list.
Motion.
In a second,
Second.
does anybody need to have any bills removed?
Yes, the first three.
So are you moving the bill list minus the first three?
Sure.
I will second that motion.
And a roll call?
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes. I will move the first three.
I will second that.
And the roll call?
Ms. Rodriguez,
Abstain.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-90 is the authorization for the liquor license renewals. The reason why we didn't receive the liquor license renewal resolution was because we allow the businesses to have up until the meeting starts to get their information to us. A lot of the avenues now that we have is not mortal pestle and paper and pen, so everything is online. So there are computer portals and things that people, if they're getting responses from the state, can get them up until we actually start the meeting. So in front of you, you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You do have 7 liquor license up for approval for you to renew.
Who's missing from this list?
You have E&T, which is missing. That is a
That's a pocket liquor license.
pocket liquor license, and the issue with that is there is a response that I believe that they're waiting to get, correct? E&T?
From the state, yes.
From the state, but because they're a pocket license, it doesn't affect them per se. The other two that it does affect are 3 and 1, which does not have a tax clearance yet, and the Garden State Yacht Club does not have a tax clearance yet. From what I understand, just correct me if I'm wrong, John, this is the first year that the state of New Jersey is not allowing these entities renewing to be able to drive to Trenton and get these tax clearance certificates. Everything is online now through this portal, and from what I understand, it's not moving as quickly or as easily as they would like. The unfortunate thing is that without having these liquor licenses, we don't have another meeting until July 3rd. There is an option for these liquor licenses to pay a daily fee, that we will be able to check on that they're paying that daily fee up until they can actually get their tax clearance. However, if they do not get their tax clearance after the end of June, they will not be able to sell alcohol July 1, 2, unless they have their tax clearance for the 3rd. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's right.
So moved.
So moved, yep.
And the roll call?
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-91. This is a resolution to appoint Neil Spitaletto as our JIF Commissioner, MCIFF. Commissioner.
CJIF.
MCJIF.
Morris County
Joint
Jail.
Insurance Fund.
Yes. No, I know. I can't read my own writing. I'm sorry. The Morris County Joint Insurance Fund Commissioner. So if you can just take that away from me, I'd be very happy to lose my
So moved.
job.
But you're so good at planning, it sounds like.
One more thing.
One more thing that Neil can take.
Yeah.
So roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. 2024-92 is the authorization to apply for the Safe and Secure Grant.
So moved.
Second.
And the roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
I know it gets confusing.
2024-93, authorizing the promotion of Zachary Ellicott to Public Works Repairer. This was scheduled for the last agenda. I had actually pulled it off the agenda till I had a conversation with Pat Mason and the administrator. I wanted to familiarize myself with the process of how the decision was made to promote these employees that we have. You know, I know that we have a fabulous DPW, but I wanted to know how, why, where, and when everybody isn't entitled to this promotion, why they're not entitled to the promotion. And it all falls along the terms of what they're actually qualified for. There are some people that hold certain titles and other people that don't. These specific titles that were open are only open to a select group of employees that we have. Other ones that do not have qualifications cannot apply for them. And the decision was made based on what our Department of Public Works Supervisor, Pat Mason, felt, and we are very happy with his choices. I know that the administrator and I had a conversation with him, and we're looking forward to, and we're excited that these promotions are taking place.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. So just to confirm, is this going to be retroactive to January 1?
This is retroactive to,
Only because I don't, unless I'm missing it, I don't see it on
It
this.
says June 20th.
it's
Right, that's right.
it's the last meeting date. It's the last meeting date.
His position, it says his position.
His position
starts.
begins on June 20th, so because we had the, our meeting was, because our meeting was, oh no, that's right.
It should be retro.
Actually, Rachel's right, because, it was supposed to be on for the last agenda. I believe it was supposed to be for the last meeting, but it doesn't say that.
And if you think that's what it should be, you can make that change now.
Let's see the date.
Has he been doing the job since the
Yes.
last meeting?
Yes,
Since the
he
last
has.
meeting, not starting tomorrow,
since
because this
Janu-
says tomorrow,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not since January. He's been doing it since June 5th.
June
June
5th.
5th.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will move it with the modification item number 1 to June 5th.
And I will
Yes.
second that.
And the roll
So
call.
the other one is gonna be the same, right? Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
This is, they're separate. Okay, yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. 2024-94, authorization of the promotion of James McCarthy to the Public Works Repair.
I will make a motion to move this, modifying item number 1 to June 5th for the date.
Second.
And the roll call?
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
Thank you. 2024-95. Authorizing a contract with Tree King. I know that this appears to be extremely vague and I questioned this myself. So upon discussion with the administrator, we will be approving this for projects that Tree King is going to be doing for the municipality, to which we will actually be providing you with an update as these things are happening, as these projects are happening. A motion?
I make a motion that we accept it.
Second?
Anybody?
Sorry, I'm just looking it over. on
yeah,
my
I'm
phone.
reading it over real quick too. I second.
I do have a list if anybody's interested of all of the work that that Tree King has actually done for us previously. We have an extensive history. This goes back to 2012, actually, in using Tree King, because I asked the question and was concerned about using just Tree King. Roll call?
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
2024-96, authorizing a salary increase for Class 3 specials.
so moved.
Second.
And the roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
This is great without the other four. 2024-97, authorizing a repair for a fire truck.
so moved.
Second.
So this authorization for this repair of this fire truck, I had questioned where this is coming from and why we have this. We have a truck that is in need of repair. We have taken it to a facility that has taken the truck apart. And if we were to put it back together to go get another estimate somewhere else, it would cost us for them to put the truck back together. So this is actually a way for us to be able to avoid that and still stay within where we have to legally when it comes to paying for this. Motion and second.
We had a motion and second.
And then roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
2024-98, authorization to cancel general capital balances.
so moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
Thank you. 2024-99, authorization to amend the budget to include the recreation improvement grant.
moved.
Second.
So this is the grant that I was talking to you about at the last meeting for the $68,000, which would be for the installation of the pickleball court behind the senior center.
Mhm.
And the roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
2024-100, authorization of a sidebar agreement with the white collar employees. This is motion.
A motion. You want, okay, I'll make a motion.
And a second.
Second.
Okay, so this is the resolution from several meetings ago when we were in executive session and our administrator Greg was here at the time. And this is what the council had agreed to
Right.
for the food service workers. And the assistant municipal clerk deputy registrar that's on here is on here because it's housekeeping that Greg put on here because we didn't do it when it should have been done
Right.
before. So it's just
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
I remember this now.
Mhm.
roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
Resolution 2024-101, authorization to amend the budget to include the safe and secure grant.
Motion.
second.
And a roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
On to 13-2024 capital funding. Capital ordinance providing for various capital improvements, water improvements and sewer improvements by and in the county of Sussex, state of New Jersey, appropriating $939,050, therefore $187,100 from the general capital fund balance, $473,950 from the general capital improvement fund, $30,000 from the Water Capital Fund and $248,000 from the Sewer Capital Fund to pay for the cost thereof.
Motion.
Second.
And I have to open it.
Yes.
Motion open to the public?
Second.
So this ordinance is open to the public for comments, questions.
Ricky.
Mhm.
I was pulling $250,000 plus out of the sewer capital fund, gonna set us up when we've been told by the auditor that we need to really keep an eye on that fund. And the last administration went and cut everyone down $15, so we are losing that kind of revenue going into it. And the balances that are outstanding and the Hudson Avenue project, I don't think is kicking in any kind of money and all of that, but how are we gonna keep draining this sewer capital fund and not having a severe cost with a $330 Board of Ed or school increase and $100 and some odd for some people in the town for the town increase, and gosh knows what the county's gonna nail on us. Are we putting ourselves in a little precarious situation, churning that fund down?
This $248,000 that's coming from the Sewer Capital Fund is to fund projects and necessities for the sewer department. That's where it's coming from. They're taking the money from their own department so that we can.
But the fund's still going down and it's still putting us in a situation for our next audit where we're gonna, been told for 2 years, maybe 3 years straight to keep an eye on that fund, that things are gonna start coming due. And now we're pulling another 248. So just a little concern that next year is gonna be a rude awakening for our sewer bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Motion to bring it back.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. We do not have any old business, correct?
No.
We don't have any new business.
I have new business. Question, comment. I know myself, Councilwoman Johnson and Councilman Smith have discussed at different times the zoning chapter 242-17 prohibited uses and structures, subsection A number 2. It's basically like prohibiting fun anywhere in the borough of Hopatcon. And we would like to have fun here. If we could just look into that ordinance, that's the one saying like no carnivals, no pony rides, no this, no this, no that. And we like fun, so if we can look into that and see how we can alleviate some of those restrictions.
The rest-
Well, we
No
certainly need
wrestling,
fun.
yes.
So we
Mhm.
can look into that and possibly alter that, remove it, change it.
So yeah, it was 242-17.
We should probably float that before the land use board and get their recommendations, since they're the ones that have to enforce that.
242 dash.
17.
In zoning, yes.
Well, that's good new business. Anyone else for new business? Okay, so that will bring us to second public comment. Can I have a motion to go to public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the meeting is open to the public for anything and everything that you'd like to discuss. You have to come up and state your name and you're allowed to speak for up to 5 minutes.
Don't all get up at once, guys,
Yeah,
no
right.
worries.
This is not for me, but I was asked to bring this to the council by somebody who couldn't make it. Durbin Avenue, it seems to be by Brooklyn Mountain Road. They said there's a line of sight problem. There was another accident there the other day that somebody's bushes or something are sticking out. So if we could have somebody look into that.
Mhm.
And Mr. Erson, I've almost got that property narrowed down to who it belongs to.
Good.
What property?
Anybody else? Okay, not seeing anything. Motion to bring it back.
Motion.
Second.
I just have a few comments. So I have a few comments that Dan did not mention in his report for the Lake Hopatcon Commission The state park is actually closed for swimming on Mondays and Tuesdays. They have a lifeguard every other day but Monday and Tuesday. Swimming started at the park on June 10th. As of June 10th, the lake measured 9 feet 11 inches. The field trip for the floating classroom has had 2,000 students that have gone through the program, which is 4th graders and some 5th graders. They've actually hired a new state park administrator. His name is Jacob Hamilton. There are 224 high school students that will go through the program, the same program encompassing all 4 high schools on the lake. That will be in the fall. And in 2024 so far, we've collected 21,000 pounds of shrink wrap. And last year it was only 4,000 pounds. If you remember at previous meetings, I was saying that Jefferson was taking the shrink wrap from boats from the public. And that is a huge increase from last year. So I believe that they're going to, in the following year, have a even more spots where you'll be able to give your shrink wrap up. On June 18th, the administrator, Neil and I attended a harassment in the workplace for managers and supervisors. I do want to say that we received a check for $2,704.42. We have the solar field, and it's always been touted, you know, the solar field brings us in all this money. It really doesn't. It brings us like 20-something thousand dollars. But I kept asking where the money was, and they kept saying, we don't have it, we don't have it. And then we ended up getting it, and it was well past when we were supposed to have it. So I had said to the CFO, well, aren't we billing them for interest? I mean, we've been waiting to get this money. So we did. They actually gave us a check for $2,704 just by staying on top of them and making them have to pay the interest because they paid us late. So hopefully next year they pay us on time, or maybe they pay us later, and that makes it even better for us. I'm not sure. I do want to say that the Flag Day Parade was phenomenal. If you were there, it was a huge success. We had over 826 people who marched. We had 53 separate entities. It was a beautiful day. You could not have asked for better weather. We had outside fire departments that attended, outside school bands. We had the Hawthorne Caballeros, the New York Skyliners. We had 47 Blue Knight motorcycles. It was beautiful. The motorcycles, the Blue Knights were led by our very own Hopatcong resident, Len Pasella, and his wife, which was very, very nice because that was not his chapter. We had all of the vendors from J&J Vendors. Our police department was there. We actually had a few of our new recruits that were there. If you were there, you got to meet some of the new recruits that were doing duty that day. Our ACO officer was there. Our DPW was phenomenal that day. My co-grand marshal, Richie Hauer, and our Patriotic Service Award recipients, Tim Carey, Scott and Bob Weber. We had county commissioners from Morris and Sussex County. We had Morris County mayors, Sussex County mayors. Hopefully you all saw the New Jersey State Police bagpipers. They were phenomenal. They're actually scheduled. They're coming back next year. We have the date already set for next year of June 14th. I do want to thank the Lake Hopatcong Elks Lodge. They had a very, very beautiful float in the parade also. Sussex County had their command unit in the parade, and the Hopatcong seniors had one of the best floats in the parade, the most active, the most patriotic, and the best music playing out of their float. We had beach clubs. We had Boot and Harmony. We had Junior Miss Hopatcong, Little Mr. Hopatcong. We had Dog Pound Cruisers that brought cars. We had Picatinny Arsenal. We had Hudson Guild Farm. We had the Valor Clinic Foundation. Let's see. We had New Jersey Forest Fire, who came with Smokey the Bear, which was really kind of fun. We also had Hopatcong Cruisers, and Bill Spady was kind enough to give us his presence that day. I do want to thank all the council members who attended, Jennifer and Rachel and Ryan, and our new administrator, Neil, was also there. I do want to thank Rachel because, again, without her, especially organizing all of the cars that day, would never have happened. So I do want to say thank you very much for that. We had Dover Dodge, that was our platinum sponsor. We had the Liquor Factory, that was a sponsor. Again, the Elks Lodge, Rick Gathan, Tom Brown, Captain O'Shea, Chief McCluskey, Wade Crowley, Rob Auer, Fran Tierney, Roseanne, all of our residents who were volunteering at the t-shirt tent to to take t-shirts for donations, give away t-shirts for donations. I do want to say t-shirts are still available at Borough Hall. We do have them. If you want to pick them up while the borough is open, you can do that. We did announce the winner of our flag design contest. His name is Anthony Oricio, and he'll be at our July 3rd meeting, and we'll get to see his design for the flag. Rachel brought up the senior picnic is this weekend. Those of you that signed up, it's going to be a great event. And let's see, I do want to invite all of the council to come and help with the senior picnic that day to help and serve and to be part of our senior community. Senior Olympics is next Wednesday, June 26th. That's in Vernon. I keep reminding you of that because our seniors are the reigning champions there. Rachel brought up the fireworks. No, Neil brought up the fireworks. Rachel brought up the Mislata. The cooling center is very, very important. Again, if you don't want to go to our cooling centers, the library is open as a Sussex County cooling center. And if anybody has any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Our website and our emails are always open and busy for you to do that. I do also want to say that environmental is actually having a meeting next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So that's exciting. We haven't had environmental yet this whole year. And if you want to join us for that meeting, that would be great. And I don't have anything else.
No, is there any way we can just put a link on the borough website to the school information? Like in everything that
Sure.
I guess their Board of Ed president,
Sure.
just so they know how to get to the school site.
Sure.
That's all I had.
Okay. We can ask Courtney to do that tomorrow.
Yes, yep.
Anybody else? Good. Okay, so motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See how fast it is? Well,
Not gonna be able to beat my board of health.
What was that?
Nope.
2.5